There are a lot of misconceptions about what it takes to run a successful online business. To say that it's easy is an understatement, and even experienced business owners often underestimate the time, energy, and skill it takes to really succeed online. That's why we here at the Fitness Business Podcast invited Gareth and Nicky Nock to discuss the life and times of an online business in today's episode. If I know our FBP family, then I can assume you have a favorite show or a favorite guest. So I'm offering up a challenge. Share your faves on our FBP or Instagram page and tag us. Oh, I can't wait to see which shows and which guests are your top picks. Hello. Dory Nugent here. Get ready to be impressed by today's dynamic duo. Gareth and Nicky Nock from the Nock Academy, an online group training and education company, are here to deliver the truths about starting up an online business. Yes, they have had a lot of success, but they're also willing to offer up the pitfalls that they have endured so that you can avoid them. Stay tuned for Gareth and Nicky, because first I need to give a huge hug to One Fit Stop for supporting our show.
One Fit Stop is modern fitness studio software built for the growing multi-location studio, providing scheduling, client management, programming, payment collection tools, and more that will set your business up to grow. To find out more, go to onefitstop.com or click on the link in today's show notes.
Thank you to the great team at One Fit Stop. Make sure you check them out because you deserve an experience that makes managing your business a breeze and keeps your members engaged. You can find them at www.onefitstop.com.
Get your pen ready now for Keep Me's Fit Bizpiration.
What are your top 3 tips to ensure longevity in an online business?
So number one is ensure that within that online business, we are talking to why it is such a good service and not making a comparison to other fitness offerings in the market. So it really does keep it more as a unique, and I mentioned it before, it's not an instead of, it's its own unique thing. So that's definitely our number one.
Number 2, build community. Although you're an online business, it doesn't mean that you're just a computer. You are still a human being. Find connection with your consumers.
And number 3 is going to be managing your time. And the reason for this would be to avoid that screen burnout, stroke technology burnout. So this is something that I've noticed within the day-to-day operations of an online business is there's really no escape from it. So you have to be very smart with how you schedule that time, breaking up your time, and really ensuring you've got time for things outside of that and things for yourself when you're running that business and trying to make it successful for the long run.
Hey, mark your calendars, everybody. Next week, my co-host Jason Stowell takes over the mic for a Thinking Ahead episode. Jason interviews industry professional John Caleri, who is the administrative director with First Health. So again, mark your calendars and come on back next week.
Are you interested in increasing your center's income and your trainer's income from small group training? Tribe Team Training is the new way to get more members engaged in small group training and paying extra. Click the Tribe Team Training link in the show notes or go to tribeteamtraining.com.au/podcast for your free formula to see how much income you can make from small group training.
Okay, everyone, it is time to transition into this week's interview with Gareth and Nicky Nock. Gareth and Nicky Nock are here from the Nock Academy. Now, if you haven't heard of the Nock Academy, you are missing out. Here's what it is. It is an online group training and education company, and they're here today to talk to us about the lives and times of an online business. Welcome, Gareth and Nicky, to the Fitness Business Podcast.
Yay. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, I feel welcome. Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome, guys. Hey, let's just say you are one of the power couples of the fitness industry up there in Canada, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, me too.
So what do you have? Like over 40 years, I read collectively in the fitness industry. I also read that you guys started out, you're originally from the UK and you now hang your hat in Canada.
That's right. Canada's home. We've been here now for coming up 10 years, actually. But yeah, originally born and raised in England, educated primarily in England. And then, came across, made Canada home, and we're absolutely loving it. So yeah, we're very proud to call Canada home and to have a Canadian business.
So you have a great blend of a British accent and a Canadian accent, yes?
Yes, it's very weird. And people are like, where are you from? And then they try and guess, which I find very amusing. And then sometimes I'm too polite to correct them. So I'm Australian, I'm English.
Kiwi,
South African. But yeah.
All right.
It's fun.
You're just a melting pot of accents.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. And you know what? Life is so much better when it's interesting. So, well, I am really excited to have you guys on the show. You have this amazing academy called the Nock Academy. And like I said in your introduction, it is an online group training and education company. Just take 30 seconds and tell us a little bit more about this, because this is the whole reason why we're having you on the show today.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're really, really proud of the name of the company. It's us, but it also embodies what we're about. So not only the fitness education side, which we are growing within the business, but when we're looking at our consumer side of the business, we're all about that education, that little bit more within that group-based environment that we coach our clients in. And we truly believe that we are, educating our clients as well as getting them through a workout, working them towards their goal. We started the business back, just a year ago. With all that accumulation of our knowledge, and we brought that all together to deliver what we thought was a gap within the industry, and especially with the online world. And now we deliver, a weekly schedule to our consumer base, as well as our education-based stuff that comes along that to the professional side.
So would you say the Nock Academy derived from a direct result of COVID?
Yeah, it did. 100%.
Yeah.
Great. So you're just that true entrepreneur that took advantage of probably some downtime that a lot of the fitness industry professionals had.
Yeah, 100%. We had a moment, there was that lull for everyone, right? And we saw a gap and we were like, well, I think we need to fill this gap.
Yep.
And we couldn't find anything that we wanted. There were bits and pieces here and there, right? But we were like, well, if we can't find it and no one else is doing it, well, let's just do it ourselves. That was the naive approach, but here we are. But yeah, you're right. It's that entrepreneurial spirit where you're like, do you know what? I think this is the right time to go for it. It put the pause button on our lives, and an opportunity presented itself, so we ran with it.
So doing the podcast, I love to say, since COVID has brought out three things. It either brought upon a brand new baby for some people. It brought about a book. I had so many people write books during COVID, or they started a company. And in your case, I think it's just the company that you started during COVID.
I wrote a book too.
Yeah, one wasn't enough, apparently. There is no more babies, though. No more babies. Done with those, just the one.
Maybe I'd consider another fur baby, but not a...
Yeah. Maybe not a human one.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I should probably add that to the list too. A pet. A lot of people adopt a pet. So, all right. Well, we're going to talk today about online businesses. And I want to just start with our first question. And that is, and Nicky, Gareth, whoever wants to answer this, is I want you to just take a couple minutes and tell us about your business, kind of, pre-COVID, or should I say during COVID, like when you first got it started, versus now. I want to say we're coming out of COVID, but my goodness, if you watch the news, we are not coming out of COVID, but a little bit of time has surpassed. So go ahead and take a few minutes and kind of tell us the during and a little bit here of the after.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that the main thing really for us is that we didn't really truly have a business in the sense that, our own business that we operate prior to COVID. We'd always done personal training, we'd run businesses, we'd worked together on different things. And we kind of had all those little things going on around that main thing that we were doing. But basically when COVID came around, we had a combination of leadership, education and coaching groups, which is where our speciality is. And we kind of took all of those different things and they kind of, they got paused and they got stopped and they just completely changed course. Like, for me in my career at the time, it took a totally different trajectory at the beginning of COVID and it was never going to be the same. So we didn't really have the business. What we had was all these little things that were going on in our head. We're like, well, we have all these leadership skills where we can run a business. We have all these coaching skills. We have these education skills. Why are we not just putting them all on our own platform? So prior it was disjointed. And now we feel as though we have this really slick system where we bring everything together. So it was kind of more of we had all these things, we didn't have a business. And now, thanks to COVID, we do have this business.
We are so glad that you do have the business and that you're here with us today, because it's people like you that our listeners can relate to, because so many of our listeners started a business, whatever it may be. They started a business during COVID and they can relate to you. And that's what we just love here, is not only is education, but people can relate to our guests. So I'm going to break my next question up. Nicky, I'm going to ask you the first part, and then Gareth, I'm going to ask you the second part. The first part is this, and that is, why do you think it's working? What is it that you're doing that is making your online business and your online company so successful? And then Gareth, I want you to follow up and answer about the mistakes that you have made along the way, because I love to, not that I want to highlight mistakes, but I just feel so many people are out there, they make mistakes, but nobody ever wants to talk about the mistakes. They only want to talk about the successes. So Nicky, go ahead. Let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, there's two things that we do very well. And it's not me blowing my own trumpet. This is, reviews and feedback, which kind of comes to my point, which is community. We build community. So we're always seeking that feedback. We're always getting to know the people that we coach. It's not, do as I say, see you next week. We're really invested in these individuals. So building community is something that we do exceptionally well. And it really is our number one focus, because community builds trust, trust builds respect. And then from there, right, people are loyal, and then they're raving fans, and then they tell the next person and the next person. So building community is something that we do exceptionally well. The other thing that I believe we're doing right now is making fitness accessible. With the closures and the openings and the closures, and then the unpredictability, vaccine passports, no vaccine passports. And there's so much unpredictability. There are so many rules and regulations that people don't really know if they're coming or going. So being able to work out from the comfort of their home or wherever they might be means that they don't have to miss out on their physical and mental well-being.
One thing about COVID is community has really been linked with COVID. And I think what has done so well for that word is before COVID, a lot of people did have their community. And then we all got a taste of what it was like to have our community taken away from us, because whether our community was at work or whether it was at a fitness club or some type of hobby craft club that we were in. And then it was like when we were able to find a way to get that community back, I really think it just meant so much more to people, and people appreciated their quote unquote community.
Agreed. Yeah, so much so, and when we started the academy, that was a lot of the feedback we initially got was, it's just so nice to be with other people, but I'm not with other people, but I am with other people. Do you know what I mean? But you're right. It was just having that community and, seeing other people. And for that moment, things being, I want to use the word normal, but I think you know what I mean, right? Just with like-minded people in a place which is supportive, encouraging, and just fun.
I couldn't have said that any better. I 100% agree with you. It was, if you went on a Zoom call which is probably what it was most of the time. It was just so nice for an hour just to smile and laugh and talk about something other than what everybody was really nervous about.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Try that as much as possible, like zero COVID talk. Let's not discuss that. There's no, if no one's aware, there's no masks, there's nothing else on the screen, so we can just pretend it's like we're in our little bubble. It's perfect.
That's what I kind of mean by normal, right? Yeah. Like it's just, it's that.
I totally agree. Normal is, I understand that word. All right, Gareth, do you want to tell everybody about the mistakes that you made along the way?
Yeah, how long have we got? We got a lot. But I will go with what is really important in our eyes as to what we made with mistakes. There's a couple of things. A big mistake we made and this is prior to the business, not starting the business earlier. And the biggest thing we did was we looked at this as a temporary thing that was going on in the world. And let's hope it is a temporary thing in the world. And the pandemic will come to an end. However, we approached kind of the business and our decisions around it being temporary instead of kind of fully jumping in and saying, this is going to be our new normal, regardless of what happens in the world. So that was the first stumbling block. I only wish we had pulled the trigger a bit sooner and done it, because we'd be even further through the journey now. So that was the first big thing. And then I think to follow on from that, it was assuming that kind of virtual would be the same as live, or to describe that better is maybe we kind of compared it. So we just, it was kind of like an instead of. And that's the biggest mistake. And I think now it's one of our biggest strengths, is that it isn't an instead of. This is its own independent service that we provide, and it will always stand, and it'll always be, so many of our members have said, I'm never going back to the gym. And they're never going to step back in the gym because they have everything they need. And as soon as we started to hear that, we were like, this is a mistake. We're approaching this as, hey, come train with us because the gym's shut. Come train with us because what we do is amazing. And that's the flip of what we now need to do. So that was definitely, I think, the second biggest thing. They're the kind of main ones. I think niche would probably be the third thing, is niching down a little bit on our market and really understanding who we were, and then speaking to that market to bring those people in. So that would be my kind of third thing I think we made. There's probably 100 more, but they'd be the ones that stand out.
Yeah, no, those are great. 3 big ones. And again, it's not that we want to, get nitty gritty about the mistake. We all make mistakes in everything that we do. It's just nice sometimes for those out there that can relate to you to hear, like, it's okay to make a mistake, and okay, I've made mistakes too. And how did you recover from it? And look, you guys are still surviving, you're booming, and it's just okay to make a mistake.
Yep.
All right, I'll let you two decide who's going to answer this one. But what were your 3 marketing strategies or campaigns that worked for the Nock Academy?
Yeah, for sure. I'll start and I'll throw a thing in. I'm sure Nikki's got a few opinions on what she feels worked really well too. First of all, we stayed connected to our network. So that was our first big thing, because we are in we understand this, we're in a massively competitive market. We don't need to talk about brands, but we all know there's many online companies out there that are, billion-dollar companies. So we're in a complete transparency. They're a billion-dollar company. We run out of our studio in our basement. So there's a big kind of gulf between those two things. And for us, it was, we had to dial into our network, people that already trusted us, people that already knew what we did, because we were competing, trying to get brand new clientele in a world where there's so much competition, and where these companies can also give so much away for free because they're financially able to do that. We're not. So we're in a situation where we're kind of fighting that battle. So for us, it was definitely get the people we know and then build out from that network of people who trust us, because nobody talks a better game about you as a business or an individual than somebody that trusts you. So that was our biggest takeaway. And that kind of goes into the second point, which is we use social media really well to, again, take that network, build a following. And we're still in the process of that as a new business, is growing and building that network of other people that now trust us as a result of somebody they know trusting us and working with us. And, we're really working hard on getting people to share their testimonials, to share their experiences, to screenshot, their workouts or whatever it is. So people start to see that and build that trust. And they're, for me, the 2 things that stand out and what I've been focusing on. Nikki, I don't know if you've got anything you want to share.
Yeah, I think much to what you were saying, it's just really dialing into what we do and what we do well, and then telling people about that, but keeping integrity at the same time. So dial into your purpose and your why, and then organize your marketing and your social media and your messaging around that. And we found when we really dialed into that and we were 100% happy with what we were delivering and not in comparison mode, then the communication and the messaging became more clear, because that's a lot of it with the business, is a lot of people just don't know what you do. So if you can keep it really clear so people do know what you do, then that helps people, outside looking in that aren't perhaps direct referrals.
Well, thank you for sharing that with all of our listeners out there, because I think we've had a couple guests on with online businesses, and the questions that I always get back from our listeners are, hey, I have an online business and I really struggle getting the word out. I really struggle to get a following. I think it seems to me, and I'm no expert, I don't have an online business, but it seems to me that is one of the bigger challenges that a lot of the startup online companies have. So thank you for sharing those marketing and campaign tips with everybody listening. Now, I feel like you might have already answered this, but I'm going to ask it anyhow, just to make sure maybe I'm wrong. But what would you say, Nicky, is your number one retention strategy for your online clients?
Community. It's just creating that safe space where somebody can be themselves, express themselves, and just enjoy moving and breathing. So it's not just about the workout. In fact, the workout is probably about, 0.005%. It really is about everything else that comes with just coming together and being connected with other humans and like-minded people.
Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
You say community. And I think everybody out there understands what you're talking about. And I think everybody will agree that that's sometimes more important than the workout. But is there anything that you do when you have those clients online that's unique or different to help create the community, to make everybody introduce themselves? Do you try to say everybody's name? What do you guys do?
I feel like that's like the special recipe at KFC. I don't know if we share that for everyone. No, I'm joking.
The secret blend of herbs and spices.
Exactly.
I can't remember how many there are, but there's quite a few. No, and that's a fair point, because it is kind of a vague answer. But for me, it's about during the workout, I make sure I watch every single person and give them technique correction if they need it. I'll give them some encouragement if they need it. I'll give them a way to go. So anybody can watch a free workout and go through the motions and not be held accountable. So being held accountable is a big one for us when our clients are in the moment working out. But it's also going the extra mile. So it's everything away from the workout. Are you staying connected? Are you noticing when they're not there? Are you noticing when they've been there 3 times this week? Are you noticing that, they've brought a friend along? Are you noticing that there's subtle changes in their behavior and their mental health? Also connecting through things like webinars, we have Q&As, we have, opportunities to come together just to talk. Some of our clients live alone, and I know that they've been heavily affected by the pandemic. So just to be able to log on to a webinar means just as much or sometimes more than a workout, just to talk to somebody. So for us, it's that community, but then really looking at as many touch points, but not really touching because we're virtual, right? But and it's COVID, so we're not going to go there. But I think you know what I mean when I use that expression, right? Just how often can you be connected with somebody to make them feel valued and to connect?
Yeah. Connect, a great word. And I want to just add, from a practical kind of business standpoint as well, the way I see it and the way I always looked at it right from the start is we didn't just want another schedule of workouts. So, we are huge on one of the big things that we talk about in our marketing is you see us, we see you. which is huge, right? Because like you said, anyone can Google fitness workout and get 2 million hits, but no one's watching you, no one's coaching to you. So that for us is huge. And then from the business kind of structure standpoint is we look at the schedule, and it's not just a schedule. Like Nicky said, we have webinars on there. We had a holiday event just before Christmas, and we had everyone come on, and we did all these things virtually. And this is something we've not seen a lot of in the industry, doing injury prevention webinars, we did some, we've got a yoga seminar coming up. We've got all these things that are built within it, and they're in our schedule as part of somebody's offering. So when they look at it and they say, oh, I'm going to do this workout, but I'm also going to do this meditation, and I'm also going to come to this webinar. So we're building that whole lifestyle package for them. And that's what's bringing that deeper sense of connection, us to them, but also all of them together as well, which is a key factor, because it takes, to be honest, a lot of responsibility off of us. And we don't have to do so much building of the community when they're doing it themselves.
I think when I felt Nicky, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were talking about touching and you were like, well, not really literally touching.
Always doing that.
I feel like I understood what you were saying. And I feel like touching somebody doesn't always have to be physical, but it can be mental as well. And I feel like, is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just sincere points of contact where somebody feels valued, welcomed. There's that sense of belonging, which comes with being part of a community.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you said, when I kind of pressed you here on, well, what do you mean community? What are you doing that's different? Tell me a little bit, just take maybe 20 seconds and tell me about the question and answer event that you say you have.
Yeah. So we have, the last one we had it was around Christmas. So how can we stay fit and healthy mentally and physically around the holidays? So we kind of gave here's our top 5 tips. But really, it was really an opportunity for those guys to ask questions like, hey, I'm not at home. I'm going to be at my mom's house. What can I take? What equipment can I take with me? How can I modify this? What would be the best XYZ? So it was an opportunity for them to really, I guess, connect with us and ask questions, not necessarily about the workout, but maybe ask questions about lifestyle, how it could impact themselves, but also their family members during the holidays. So yeah, it was just a great opportunity to chat.
See, Gareth, I kind of got her to divulge a little bit of the secret sauce, and I don't think she realized it. So there you go.
I know.
Okay, I'll let her off this once.
The Q&A session. And you also said you had a holiday event too, which sounds like it was unique as well. So there you go. We got it out of you.
Yeah.
All righty. Here we go. Final questions. With gyms reopening, I know this is like a top thing for a lot of fitness professionals out there. How do you protect an online business and stop clients from moving to the brick and mortar fitness facility? So
I think number one, we kind of already said it, but we as an industry, let's just call it online fitness as a part of the industry, that section of the industry is not an instead of. So we kind of already went there a little bit earlier, but this is how we are approaching it as a business. We're not closing up our business when the gyms reopen. We're an online business. We are staying as an online business. We built the business to fit around our lifestyle and what we wanted. And we wanted to build something that was unique. And that's where the biggest thing is. We're not worried about the impact of gyms reopening, because we're building something that we truly believe people that want to do it, want to work out and exercise and move and build community online will stay regardless. So I think that's kind of our approach as a business, and where we're kind of channeling everything to as we grow. And I think that's kind of how we're protecting it, really. I mean, I don't know if you want to add anything. That's kind of my...
Yeah, I actually want to add it's actually my favorite quote from Steve Martin, which is, be so good, they can't ignore you. Oh. At the end of the day, there are billions of people that sell fitness, but why do you go back to that one person? Because that one person is probably not doing squats any differently than the other person. You're coming back to that person. So having that great connection, finding that person that you trust, that that you see as a motivator, a role model, right? That's what's going to keep you going. So whether that's online or that's in the gym, that's okay, right? But just know that with your business, if you are doing what you do well with maximum integrity and passion, they're not going anywhere.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Fitness Business Podcast. This is my first time meeting you guys, and it's been so great. I feel like I've known you for a long time.
They're always the best episodes and the best shows when it just clicks like that.
It was fun. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
How fantastic were Gareth and Nicky Nock from the Nock Academy? I give them a round of applause and a huge thank you for taking time out of their day to join me for a major information dump. Follow up with Gareth and Nicky by heading over to our show notes for their contact details. You can find that at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Or you can make life easier on yourself and subscribe to the show notes. Then they're emailed directly to your inbox. Subscribe to the show notes also at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. In 30 seconds, Jason will introduce you to next week's industry expert, John Kalari, who is his guest.
G'day, it's JT here, and I was talking to Blair McCaney, the CEO of one of our sponsors, MX Metrics, the other day, and I gave him a hard time about his company's tagline, defeating mediocrity. By definition, that means he's excluding the majority of the market, but Blair just wouldn't budge. He only wants to work with operators who want to punch mediocrity in the face, really smash it. So I've talked to a few of his customers, like Joe Shirelli from Gainesville Health and Fitness, and yeah, it's for real. While Joe is a nice guy, he isn't satisfied with mediocrity either. He's crushing it as well. So I'm still dubious about selling only to operators who want to defeat mediocrity, but if this resonates with you, I reckon you should check them out. Go to mxmetrics.com. But remember, only if you're interested in smashing mediocrity.
Quickfire 5.
I'd like to welcome John Kalari from First Health and my teammate, Jason Stowell.
Welcome John Kalari, who is the Administrative Director of First Health Fitness, a department of First Health of the Carolinas. John has held various roles with First Health starting back in 1995. First Health of the Carolinas is a regional healthcare system in North Carolina where John oversees all aspects of 6 medical wellness centers. John, welcome to the Quickfire 5.
Thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity.
We're excited to have you here. So let's just start. I'm going to ask you question 1, and I just want to hear how you're going to answer. What is one life lesson that you learned during this pandemic?
Keep stepping forward. There's no reason to stop our life because of this.
Excellent. Yeah, no doubt. Number 2, if you could play a character in any movie, what character would it be?
Boy, this one is so easy. There is a movie called Secondhand Lions, and there's a character there, Hub McCann. And one of the most, the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life is when my wife watched the movie with me and she said, "Oh my God, you are Hub McCann." And if you're a man, and especially if you have a son, you need to watch that movie.
Excellent. I don't know that my wife has given me a compliment like that, so I'm jealous. Question 3, please complete the following statement. Sunday mornings, you can find me
in the woods.
Perfect. All right. Do you have a book recommendation that you would share with the listeners?
I do have a book. This was another easy one. If you grew up in life and became a warrior, sometimes Christian faith is hard to wrap your mind around. And a book that changed my life in that regard is Jesus Was an Airborne Ranger. And if you're out there and you're a guy who has trouble struggling with the aspect of modern Christianity, and you want to understand the most successful insurgent in the history of the world, which was Jesus Christ, you need to read Jesus Was an Airborne Ranger. And in fact, you'll have my contact information. And if you want this book, you send me an email, I will buy it for you. It will change your life.
Wow, that's an incredible offer. Thank you for that. All right, final question. Can you give us a 20-second elevator pitch on why listeners should tune in next week to hear your episode?
Well, I think maybe they want to tune in if they want to understand how to engage physicians and other providers in a way that where the group of us, fitness and healthcare, can work together to provide for patients in a way where they can take care of themselves rather than relying on the more traditional medical care model.
Wow, incredible. Well, thank you, John. FPP family, make sure you tune in next week to hear more from John and how we can all strengthen our relationships with the medical wellness industry.
Anyone else looking forward to Jason's show? I can't wait to hear all of the great information delivered in this episode. Subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player, or even better yet, let us do the work for you and we will send you the show. Subscribe at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. It is time to give some special shout outs. I'd like to thank our founding partner, Active Management, our partners, Keep Me, MyZone, Discover Strength, Tribe Team Training, One Fit Stop, and ISSA. I'd also like to thank our advertisers, Rex Roundtables, MX Metrics, and Vaporfresh. We believe what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but woven into the lives of others.